we have, I think, a very large story in the field of foreign policy. Khalid Mashal is the leader of Hamas. He's in Syria, and he has talked to the New York Times at length, I believe for over 5 hours. And in that extensive interview, he says very, very clearly, we will not bomb Israel anymore as long as they are willing to come to the table. In fact, in the last month, to show that their good faith, they have reduced the rocket fire to the point where there was only 6 rockets that landed in Israel. And, you know, there's a question as to whether they controlled those 6 or not. But when they turned off the valve, the number of rockets went down dramatically. And even more importantly, saying, yes, we are on board for a 2-state solution. Now, in the past, this has been a big stumbling block because the Americans were concerned, Israelis were concerned, saying, well, what's the point of trying to make a deal if Hamas is not on board? And they don't believe in a 2-state solution because they want to destroy Israel, and that's in their charter. And when asked about their charter, Michel does not say, oh, no, it's not true, or we're getting rid of it, but he says, look, that was written decades ago, and I wouldn't over-focus on that, which I think is an eminently clear sign that they're willing to make a deal, and that deal involves a 2-state solution.
But it is also the first time that you've ever heard anybody in any kind of position of authority within Hamas say something like that, sort of disavowing, he's not disavowing what their charter was, but talking about how it is actually a sort of a fluid document right now, and that was written a long time ago, and yes, we can revisit it as long as other considerations are taken into account.
And that's exactly what he said, too. Fluid document. He's saying, look, nothing is set in stone. Of course, he's not going to make the concession at this point, because remember, this is part of negotiations, etc. And he wants to continue negotiations, including the Israeli soldiers that they're holding.
Yeah.
He says, I'm open to all those negotiations, but he's not going to give away his hand. And part of what he would be conceding in a negotiation is, fine, we'll recognize Israel.
Right.
So obviously he's not going to do that. Now, I see this as a terrific sign. There are some caveats, important caveats.
Yeah.
He said, when asked by the reporter at the New York Times, so what, you're trying to, if Israel trades land for peace, how long do we have peace for? And I think he screwed up here, if you ask me, but we have to take him at face value. He said 10 years. That is not the right answer.
It's like the Bush tax cuts. In 10 years, they have what they call a sunset, and then we'll revisit it later on.
Right. We can't revisit that issue 10 years from now. That's not
especially
right.
As we celebrate, I believe now 30 years they're celebrating the Camp David Accords between Israel and Egypt. And you see that is the most successful and enduring peace in that region. So it should be inspiring, and I don't think they ever went into it, and I don't know. I don't think Sadat and Begin sat with Carter and said, let's give it 10 years and see what happens.
Yeah, and I think that my guess is he screwed up on it. I don't know if I'm being too generous in interpreting this, meaning I took it to mean, God knows what happens in 10 years. If things don't, if they don't cross the border and this doesn't happen, it's a peace deal, right? And that's true, but it should be left unsaid.
It almost sounds wrong. It almost sounds like it was erroneously reported, because I can't imagine they would have a peace deal. Peace is peace.
Yes, I think there's something wrong in that calculation, but still, it's an unnerving thing for the Israelis to hear that.